if you could imagine for just a moment, it's 2030, 8 years from today. The requirement, as far as scientists have said in the United Nations, is that we dial down carbon emissions by 45%. If we do that, we must change the mechanisms by which we generate electricity, products, services, travel, concrete, steel, everything we build, less plastic, less fossil fuels. Will be required to work together. Competition won't get us there. Competition will keep us at odds with each other, not sharing information, not sharing resources, not sharing ideas, not co-creating, not operating harmoniously. As resources become more scarce in future, and as more climate change issues occur, might people start trying to fight over the scraps? Might they say, well, there's only so much fossil fuel left in the ground. We want to get it. We want to get it for our nation. We don't care what happens to the other nations. And we want to be sure that we profit, we retain a Western lifestyle. And who cares what happens to the have-nots? They can starve, they can die, they can have disease, they can fight amongst themselves, as long as we continue having the lights on, really good food, entertainment on television, etc. We say in 8 years, we've transformed all of that dysfunction into something that works, something that is sustainable, or is at least the first step, the first breadcrumb on the path to sustainability. A system, an online system where any individual can upload their thoughts, their feelings, the challenges that they are personally going through in their nation, anywhere in the world. They can say, there's a problem here. We're in pain and suffering about this. Or we think this is a good idea. We think this needs to change. So votes, billions and billions of votes arriving to this system, constantly refreshing daily via cell phone apps or whatever technology is available in 8 years. That becomes a mirror for the whole planet. A mirror for the consciousness and the quality of understanding of every person that's participative in that network. Simultaneously, they get feedback from the system, information on anything they need to understand. If they say, I think this is a good idea, is there anybody out there that can help me understand it better, or help me implement it, or help me collaborate on it, to bring it to fruition, to work together to create it? Bartering system where they can work together to create change in the world that they understand is beneficial and healthy, and also get feedback from the system and from the world that says, it's really good that you have this idea, and it's an 80% great idea, and if you were to refine it in these 20% other ways, it would become a fantastic idea and would work way better. Or if your idea is the best way for the world to proceed is to destroy this country because you don't like them, well, this is why that's not a good idea. This is why that really would not serve either you in the long run, or the world, or humanity, etc. So a reflection back to them of hopefully vetted, intelligent, useful, constructive, wholesome, nurturing, nourishing information, and as well as resources and support resources, information resources, collaborative resources, bartered resources, and a venue for them to participate and talk through their issues, to work together with people very effectively, very efficiently, anywhere in the world. That's level one. And an administrative layer to ensure that any information that's available in the world is brought together in an efficient, effective, well-organized, vetted way. So it's a truth machine. It gives them accurate information, and it's transparent to anybody. They can see any part of it that they want. They can say, this is how you got this information. If they want to investigate it, they can. It's available. Second tier of that is nations and consortiums of universities, organizations, for-profit, not-for-profit, research institutions, think tanks, government institutions to work together to collaboratively access whatever information is necessary, shared databases of vetted information for them to base their decisions upon, collaboratively in a well-organized way to improve that shared database of information constantly so that they can create very large-scale solutions in the world and implement them successfully and have a constant feedback from every implementation of every strategic implementation of a solution. So they say, we tried to implement freshwater resources in this area of China via this technique. This is what happened. They did like this, they didn't like that. They thought this worked, they thought that didn't work. We helped in this way, we hurt in this way. We learn. Constant learning from every transformational effort. The whole system is a constant evolution and learning support system for the species, for every nation, for every religion, for every gender, for every group of people in the world, constantly helping them evolve together in a synchronized way. So that's occurring. This is 2030. It's working. Information is being output to supply chains, where before we used to invest in fossil fuels, and then we tried to invest in green technology, which meant there were no fossil fuels to keep the coal plants burning, so there's no electricity, so people froze or starved or died or didn't have jobs in this, and that created a domino effect across the world because they couldn't buy products or they don't have an economy in that area, or then they're sick and they need more resources to help them stay alive, or we've got to then rescue them from that scenario. Instead of that process, there's orchestrated efforts in the world that say, China, we know you need more, we know you're dependent upon coal and fossil fuels now. We want to work, United States and other nations want to work with you hand in glove constantly to say, how do we move you to green technologies as effectively, efficiently as possible? Because we know if you pollute China, you're going to pollute the rest of the world. If India pollutes India, it's going to pollute the rest of the world. If the United States pollutes the United States, it's going to pollute the rest of the world. So a whole new paradigm of understanding that can be held together sustainably in this collective Gestalt conscious system we refer to as the social movement engine or the New World Project, whatever we want to call it. In that world, in that future, where your information, your contributions become not just an echo that went out and disappeared somewhere in the world, they become substantive, meaningful inputs. They become refinable votes. They become actionable intelligence and information. They become influence where there was not previously influence, where your voices are heard, where everybody gets a voice all the time. In that environment, in that space, can you feel what it would be like that culture, that global culture, encapsulated, integrated, synthesized, operating, evolving, learning, changing, growing together in sync with each other, constant education and resources flowing out to anybody that needs them as best we can. It won't be a perfect world. It's not everyone's going to have everything they need all the time, and they'll have more of what they need more often, and and others that have those resources will know who needs what and will have a way to deliver them. The nations that are suffering will be recognizably shown to be suffering. It won't be a question of news channels focusing on one thing to the exclusion of another. The composite of the global situation, the mirror of the global situation available all the time. And you're still able to hold down a job and raise a family and pay your bills. In that world, how do you feel about it? Please be judgmental, critical, bring in conjecture, add things, subtract things. Is that an envisionable future that might work a little better, a little more functionally, a little more successfully than what we're doing now? And might that allow us to shift the developmental trajectory of the entire species from non-sustainability closer to sustainability? And would it give us a way to ensure that that's actually what's happening? That there are not players that are trying to affect that trajectory for self-interest purposes to the detriment of every human being in the natural world.